free Guilty Gear Strive beginner tournament here from Kick Esports. I'm Dynamite, joined by our resident experts, Chris Chaos and FNTR, for another week of discussion from a beginner standpoint about the game and to offer a little bit of free advice. So we're going to get straight into it. We're a little bit late, so we're going to just move right along. Today's topics are everyone's favorite tier lists and what they mean for beginners. And then we're going to move a little bit more into the RC system. This being week 3 of free means that is the last chance to collect points. After this week, we will be publishing the points totals list for everyone who made top 8. Tell everyone who the qualifiers are for the automatic invite to the finals week, which will be July 10th. We're skipping July 3rd due to the holiday weekend. And then from there, we'll have a little bit more during the week about maybe the next season of free or whatever else is coming from Kick Esports. So without further ado, Christian, FNTR, excuse me.
Yeah, you're good.
Tier list. There have been multiple conversations about them throughout the week. A couple have dropped from Japan. Then we've seen some from NA. We've seen some from EU. My first question, and we'll just ride off of this one, is I've seen a lot of people who are just starting out with both fighting games and or Strive ask the question, how does this tier list affect? Like, should I drop my character if the tier lists say that they aren't that good? So what are your thoughts? I'll let whichever one you want to go first, but what are your thoughts about that, and especially from a beginner standpoint?
Well, to go ahead and just give a quick short answer on that. If my character is on the lower end of the tier list, should I drop them? No. Like the thing is that when it comes to a tier list, it pretty much goes to like the character's strength comparatively to other characters in the cast. That doesn't necessarily mean if they're usable or not usable. That's kind of one of the things a lot of people usually get mixed up with. For just kind of those getting started or those who are interested in in the tier discussion. Right now, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, a tier list like less than a month in doesn't really cover like we haven't figured out everything yet, right? There's still a lot of things that we're learning. So it's nothing wrong with having a tier list right now to get like a broad perspective of what the character's like strength is up front. But I can't say that right now that these tier lists that individuals are putting out are like final say on like where the characters are now, because just like 2 weeks ago, like literally less than 2 weeks ago, everyone was saying, "Oh no, Chip's bottom tier." Now you're seeing all these tier lists, and they're like, "Oh, Chip is S tier." Like, no, we're still in flux of trying to figure out exactly where these characters are. So, if you see that your character maybe not where you would believe or like to see where they are, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not playable or they're completely bad, because a B tier, maybe B tier is the bottom of the list, and but B tier is definitely playable. Definitely seen list tier like characters in other games that are at the bottom of the tier list actually get top 8s and competitively and all that. It's all like at the end of the day, it comes down to player skill. So however much work you put into that character and how much time you study for it and learn your matchups, that's going to be the end result. Does having a stronger character or a top tier character make it easier? Yes, it does. But at the end of the day, you still need to have your knowledge for that. So thrive.
Yeah, definitely. That's a lot of what I was thinking as well. Tier lists typically are mainly a talking point. Tier lists are made because people want to have discussion about how good a character is, how they match up against other characters, that sort of thing. They're not an end-all be-all, right? Now, granted, tier lists can be wrong because people can be wrong and not have the proper experiences that maybe they, have done before. Maybe there are people in their area or people that they play with regularly that don't play a character that's really good, right? Or considered really good, right? Their influence can be changed on that. Maybe one of your best players in the scene is a Faust player or something, right? And everyone else considers Faust to be really bad or something like that, right? Like that's something that can happen. So that type of discussion is what tier lists are for. It's there to discuss and try to nail down what's going on with the game and what's going on with its characters. Don't rely too hard on tier lists for really anything outside of just discussion points. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Play who you want to play.
Agreed.
I like that. I like that because, especially from someone who's starting out, the most mileage you're going to get out of the game is enjoying your character, right? Especially in the beginning, because even if you're moving towards that intermediate level, oftentimes, and this comes from discussions with you, FNTR, with you, Chris, the tier list and how it affects you as a player, like you going online and playing,
Right.
that tier list may or may not even affect the type of matches that you have, right?
Exactly.
And it depends on the overall balance of the game. So I really like the points that both of you made about, hey, this is a tier list respective of the rest of the characters in the cast, right? Like it's not saying, oh, if my character's bottom tier, immediately switch because you're not going to be able to play them. That's not necessarily the case at all. And what you said, FNTR, about it, it's a discussion point. It's so you can have conversations about what the meta is like and why certain things are the way they are. And those two things with tier lists do make them enjoyable to look at. But, just having obviously been in the FGC a while, the three of us know that the tier lists aren't going to stop. So I want beginners to understand, like, what is this all about? Like, why do these lists keep coming out? Because, I thought this tier list dropped, 3 weeks ago, and that was it. They're gonna keep coming.
No, throughout the entire game's life. The entire game's life, there's gonna be tier lists. I mean, people are still making tier lists for stuff in Exerd. People are still saying this character's trash, whatever, right? It's never gonna end. So what you should know early on is tier lists are not the end all be all. Play who you want to play who you enjoy, most importantly.
Absolutely. So moving on from there, it's been 3 weeks of the game out. I'm sure lots of people have been watching all kinds of tournaments. There's so much footage of the game. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, and some of the things we even saw in last week's top 16 and top 8 from free, is more usage of the Roman cancel system, right? And I feel like if you watch a tournament, especially as it starts to whittle down with high level players, you're going to see Roman cancel used all the time. They're using their meter for Roman cancel. And one of the common questions that I've seen is, well, why use Roman cancel when you can try to use a super in a combo, right, and get more damage? Or, why use Roman cancel when, I can try to get the wall break with the super instead, right? So I'm trying to keep my attention and keep my meter. Can we jump into training mode for a little bit and I'll let the two of you take it from there and just start to go over what the Roman cancel system is, like how it differs from the different types of Roman cancel. So there's red, blue, purple, yellow, what they're for, and then touch a little bit more on kind of how the drift mechanic plays into it.
Right. I'll let Christian take the lead on this one. Go for it.
All right. So Roman cancel, the way it works is when you do an action, or not even do an action, the input for Roman cancel is always going to be any combination of buttons that don't include the dust button. So that could be P plus K plus S all at once. It could be any other combination, really, like any combination that doesn't include the dust button, and you'll do RC. See, I did, S plus K plus H, all of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. It's whatever's comfortable for you. It's essentially used more. It's used for a lot of things, right? So there's different types of RCs for different situations. For example, the regular RC is just, I don't have meter. There we go. It's just blue RC. Now, the cool thing about blue RC is that if you're close enough, you see that little clock that shows up around the opponent? That little clock right there slows down whatever it is that they're doing. So this can be used to kind of gain and assess the situation on what's going on, per se. Say you jump at a character and they do something, say they try to anti-air. If I blue RC, see how I have time to just react and block? I don't have to, react to the button or something. I can, use the RC to try and gain data, That's one way you can use blue RC. There's other ways to use it as well, but we'll get into that in a bit when we start talking about drift RCs and such. The other types of RC are on hit, red RC. It's just when you RC on a hit. If you got a hit and you RC, it's gonna be a red RC. And again, if you have that little bubble, that little clock, it launches them up. So it extends your combo. That's what red RC's are for extending your combo.
Yep.
Another use of RC, if you'll block for just a moment, Chris, that is a yellow RC. This is a defensive RC. it's used to kind of just get people off of you. There's a similar mechanic in previous Gear games that's called dead angle attack, but this kind of replaces it, and it's a little bit better for everybody, I think, in this game. For most characters, it functions similarly for everybody. You can block it, though, and then you're punishable. You can get a punish. So you have to be kind of careful with how you use it, but most of the time, it's a really strong option to go to. Granted, it does cost 50 meters, so that's something you have to weigh out, right? But it's a very strong defensive option that you should rotate in your defensive options. And then the other type of RC is purple RC. Purple RC is typically used to keep yourself safe after a whiff. So say you put out a button that's pretty kind of slow, you know, I don't know, something like this. Oh god, that was really active. See how I get whiff punish for that? If I want to, I can stay safe, and then I can whiff punish them, you know? It's kind of a rewriting your errors, right? Like, if you make a bad decision and you think, oh no, I shouldn't have done that, if you have 50 meter, that's a get out of jail card. That's a get out of jail card. So it's specifically after you whiff something, whether you're in the recovery of whatever your moves are. And that's pretty much what PRC is used for. I think that's all the RCs.
Yep, that's pretty much all the RCs, but there's also things that you have to take into consideration as well. Like, you know, as you mentioned earlier, like with PRC, you can like cover yourself with recovery, but there's certain moves that you cannot PRC to save yourself, such as DPs.
Right.
If you use a reversal type option and you whiff, you cannot PRC to save yourself.
Right.
So, like, no, it locks you out of the option. See, the thing is that you don't really get to see that in Strive, because in the previous version, Exerd, if you ever tried to do something like that, you would have an X show up. But in this game, it doesn't show you that. So, but it's always let it be known that if, like, you know, you're a character that has like a DP, and like, you know, I can obviously like RC on hit or on block. You know, however, if like, you know, I get baited and I end up trying to DP, I cannot RC to get out of that situation. I'm stuck.
Right.
So, like, that's also one of the big things you have to understand about like the RC system, is that there are some rules where you can and cannot. Let's see here. Also mentioned, like, you know, as mentioned earlier with blue RCs, there's lots of ways of going about it. So I know that FNTR mentioned, like, you know, using this to like kind of, you know, survey the situation and, you know, reveal it. But you can also use it in like, you know, other type of crazier situations to go ahead and get certain confirms, like just stand up real quick. Oh, like, well, I gotta get into that. Like, like you get different type of combo extensions. Like, that is not a natural combo without the blue RC having the slowdown, so I can't run up and get that. I have to actually blue RC let the clock pop up, and then I get the time to close the gap. So there's that way to, like, you know, go ahead and utilize it for, like, you know, whip punishments and getting certain different unique combos that you couldn't get naturally in this game. It does cost 50 meter, but as you saw, I used 50 meter just to get a sweep confirm and get a mid-screen corner combo, which got a wall break. Well, and of course in this game, if you wall break, you get, you know, a tension buff, which they call positive bonus in this game. So I essentially use 50 meter to go ahead and do a combo to break the wall, to then have more meter after the wall break.
Right. There is a reason you are doing RC most of the time. You know, typically that's what you want to do. You don't always want to just throw it out, but you want to have a reason behind your actions with that. And RC really does open up your possibilities. You have to look at it as kind of like a universal system that everyone can use to make extra good things happen for themselves. Like combo extensions like that, creating interesting whiff punish situations, combo situations that wouldn't normally be possible, the ability to get out of pressure easier, because pressure is really oppressive in Guilty Gear in general. Guilty Gear is a very offense-heavy game to begin with. So knowing how to use YRC in proper situations is a really good thing. Knowing how to use Drift BRC is another really good option as well. That's something we can get to as well. So most RCs, I think except for YRC, the defensive RC, you can drift. You can drift, which means you're technically putting a dash just before you do your RC input. So you could do 6-6, or well, forward, you know, numpad notation, 6-6, that is forward, and RC, and you'll move forward when you RC. See that? So another way to make this really easy for yourself is if you have the dash button macroed, you can just dash button and RC. And as long as you pick a direction, it's normally only cardinal directions. You can only drift RC in cardinal directions, but this makes it really useful for specific situations, such as getting combo extensions that wouldn't normally be possible in certain ways.
Yep.
Drift RC makes it so it's a little bit easier on yourself in certain situations. And in other situations, you can use Drift RC, say like if Chip whiffs like a 2P or a 2K or something, you can Drift RC back if you're really on it. And then you can whiff punish them in specific ways. It's not easy, but it is something that can be done, especially on characters who have really long whiff animations.
Yeah.
Like if Zato whiffs a button or something, you can definitely like BRC that if you're close enough. And it's something that's not necessarily the easiest to do, but it is another way to implement it. But that's the basic rundown of RC and all the options that you have with it. Really what it's about is finding what your characters can do with it. Finding how you can implement it in cool and interesting ways and ways that work for you. There is no real right or wrong way to do this. You just have to experiment, and if it works for you, keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that really start to, as you get through the beginner ranks and towards that intermediate level, is to dive into the RC system a little bit deeper and to really think about your character's strengths and weaknesses and what RC can either buff for them or make up for if you feel like they're lacking in certain areas. And Drift incorporated with that can really add some I think, abilities to express yourself and to do things a way that maybe your character can't do naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really good coverage of the RC system. You know, we're going to get straight into top 16 in a few minutes. Chris, FNTR, we won't see both of you for 2 weeks. So are there any parting words you have to anyone watching the stream out there from a beginner or intermediate standpoint that you want to kind of leave them with until we're back for finals week?
Go ahead. Go for it.
I really just want to say I hope you're having fun with the game, and I hope however strenuous your process may feel sometimes, or easy it feels sometimes, I just want to say I hope you're having a good time. I think this game brings a lot to the table for a lot of people who are just getting into it, and I think most people are having a good time with it. So at the end of the day, when you're grinding it out and maybe you're having a rough time sometimes, just know that you're doing this for fun. It's not a job. I want you to have fun with it. That's really what it is.
Here. Well, with me, it's pretty much very similar to what FNTR was saying, but my thing is that, as I mentioned last week, fighting games are hard. You're gonna run into a lot of walls. You're gonna plateau here and there, and it'll be frustrating. But that's the learning process. Like, if you run into a problem, you sit down and do your very best to find those solutions, whether it's figuring it out yourself or asking questions. With the way that Strive is right now, with like how accessible it is, and and having a very great netcode and means of ways of like just being social and talking to other folks, whether it's like on a Discord or Twitter or any other types of social media. If you're unsure, always ask. It's part of your growth. Don't give up. If you like this game and you really want to go ahead and have some success, let it be known that success does not come easy. This thing takes time. Champions are not born overnight, right? And so, keep playing. If you like it and you're having fun with it, keep playing. If you're having some frustrations, find out what's frustrating you and hit the lab. Ask questions if you can't figure it out. And also, find other means of ways with the game to have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is video games.
Yep.
I hope everyone who's jumping into Strive for the first time, or always been wanted to jump into Guilty Gear, is enjoying themselves or having some type of fun, or finding the fun in the game that they are enjoying, whether they are here for the long haul or just here for just a short time. It doesn't matter. As long as you're playing Guilty Gear and enjoying it, continue to do so.
That was perfect words. I can't say it any better than the two of you. I definitely echo that. I hope that everyone has taken some important advice from this section of the tournament. Thank you all for tuning in as you have. And you know what? We'll see you in 2 weeks. Chris and FNTR. Let them know where they can find you before we ship out.
Well, you can find me on Twitter or Chris Chaos _21. Let's see here. I also have a Twitch at Chris _Chaos _. Trying to go ahead and be a little bit more active there. Since Strive has been coming out. I got something going on Tuesday, so I'm probably not going to be streaming there, but we're going to have something going on Wednesday if you want to check some stuff out. Yep.
I'm at FNTR9 on Twitter. I typically just repost a lot of tournament stuff. I want to, get the word out there and make sure that people are joining as many tournaments as they want to, right? I'll retweet tournaments, I'll retweet streams, I retweet art, just stuff that I find that's cool or funny or something. Typically, I'm usually on Twitter. You can usually reach me if you really need to on there. I'm also on Discord, in the Low Kick Discord and other Discords as well, typically centered around Guilty Gear and other anime fighters. On Twitch, I'm just FNTR, I believe. I'm just FNTR on Twitter. Oh, sorry, not Twitter, on Twitch. And I don't stream very often, but I plan to stream a little bit more soon. I was streaming Strive the last time I was streaming, so maybe you could pop in and we'll run some sets for a bit. But that's me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both again for doing this for 3 weeks and dropping some free advice on everyone. We're going to get over to our top 16. We got incredible commentators coming up. We got Necromaster, new into Strive, but not new to the mic at all. So Caliber, extraordinaire Necromaster, who I'm excited to see on the mic. And then all the way from across the pond, we got an incredible commentator, C4, who's decided to join us too. So I'm big excited. C4 has been involved in a lot of Strive events and also helped run the Red Bull Kumite event. So definitely has had some hands-on time with the game. And so grab a drink, get some snacks, and get ready to see all your friends go at it. Top 16 will be coming at you soon. We'll be back in a few.
The sky, the broken world will cry for humanity.